Webcast coverage of the Minnesota House of Representatives is brought to you as a public service by House Public Information Services.
Well, it's very clear that today is the day that gridlock gave way at the Capitol. It's a big day. We passed a bill that for 20 years has languished around here. And we did it because people had the courage to join us, to compromise, to vote for their constituents, to vote for better roads, better bridges, for investments in transit. And it really is the sort of vote that presiding over it, I just felt in the chamber how important it was to people, this vote. Whether they voted yes or no, you could feel that importance in the chamber today. And I think that the most important part for everyone and for the people of Minnesota is that gridlock gave way. Representative Leader, the star of the show today, and a hero of, I think, everyone at the Capitol.
I'd rather say World War II.
Well,
no,
and for that too.
Basically, I think to those people that voted for it, that was a tough vote, and
yes.
I can really appreciate that. I think they put their politics aside and decided what they had to do. So I think thanks to those people, they certainly were great and helped us out. It's something that we hadn't done, and I still maintain the legislature's caused this problem for the last 20 years because we haven't been doing the job we should. We just haven't funded MnDOT. We could criticize MnDOT to the extent always about it, but if they haven't got funds, if they don't have funds, there's no way they can do what they should do. And I think this is going to help them so we can have safer roads and safer bridges. I think that's going to help really to go.
Majority Leader?
Sure.
I'm nervous up at the railing.
None of us are happy with heights. I join the speaker in that. I'm a little bit of the true squad here at the end for you. I just got to do something. You heard a lot of BS on the floor today about the largest tax increase in state history. That is just wholly untrue. It's a lie. The largest tax increase in state history was the Minnesota Miracle. And so even though they said it many times, it doesn't mean it to be true. I stand behind the Minnesota Miracle because it was great investment for the entire state and for our future. And this bill did the exact same thing. A balanced bill, a bill to build bridges and roads and transit, a bill that creates over 33,000 jobs, and a bill that ends the gridlock at the Capitol and moves Minnesota forward.
Are you concerned at all about taking this to the voters in November, given how poll after poll has shown this is vastly unpopular?
You know, I think that the interesting part of those speeches at the end, and I sometimes wish I could come down and speak, is to say that we did campaign with Minnesotans for over the last 3 years about the need for investment in transportation, particularly the need to raise the gas tax. When you think of the bill in 2005, when we were in the minority, the bill in 2007, we've been very clear with voters what we would need to do to fund the user fee of the gas tax to be able to actually make this investment. So no, I am not worried about going to the voters. I think when voters start to see construction crews out on their roads and bridges, when they start to see that the Hastings Bridge can get under contract to be not just repaired, but replaced, that they can see that the Lafayette Bridge, people will stop saying prayers when they go across it because they are scared, that will be a big moment for Minnesotans. And that's what this bill really means. Folks are going to see this money on the ground this season with these actions, and I take it presumably positive action in the Senate today. And MnDOT is going to have the tools that they need to be able to get this out there and on the ground fast.
This was obviously emotional and a big deal. Can you put this in a little bit of historical context?
I said I was going to let all of you put in a historical context, but the Majority Leader did tell me on the way up that there have been
over 440 vetoes
and 14 overrides of gubernatorial vetoes. And I think that we did a couple of those during the Ventura years, but there certainly has not been one since.
For the rest of the session, I mean, does it open up a big, overcome a big roadblock to the session, or does things now get chaotic with the governor retaliating? What happens now?
Well, I think, we look forward to the governor returning from Washington, D.C. later in the week and working with him on a number of issues and moving forward. We also look forward to working with a number of our colleagues across the aisle on a number of issues this session. So I don't think this makes us a veto-happy, overridden House majority or something like that. We did this today, and you could feel this on the floor. There was a lot of somberness on the House floor about this, because make no mistake about it, we get it. This is a tax increase, and we know that Minnesotans are sensitive to this. They are going to get good value out of this tax increase, however, the user fees of the gas tax and tab fees, as well as the sales tax investment. So we felt very strongly as a caucus, and I believe even as a House, about how very serious this was today. But we look forward to working with our colleagues to get a lot more done this session.
Are you concerned about what this means for the constitutional amendment that's going to be on the ballot in November in terms of voters voting themselves yet another sales tax increase? Does this almost put a nail in the coffin of that?
Well, I don't think it puts a nail in the coffin at all. I think people have said they want to clean up our water, they want to make the investments in conservation and the cultural issues that are proposed in that ballot question. I do think that it will raise a question at some point in the legislature, and along with the budget study trends group, I can't do that right now, the budget study trends group that we have working right now, that there are issues with volatility with our tax system. And clearly this legislature has got to turn its attention both this year and in coming years to that volatility, and the sales tax is going to have to be a piece of that discussion.
Are there any other issues on which you would anticipate any veto override attempts again this year?
Not right now.
When the
What was
budget,
the role of the State Chamber of Commerce is coming around to help make this happen today?
Well, I think that the state chamber's endorsement of the bill, and they're working with me and us working together, Representative Leader and Representative Hornstein and Senator Dibble and Senator Murphy and the majority leader over that, I would say, 24-hour period where the chamber stepped up and said, we think you have a pretty good bill here, but we think you can make it a little bit better. Are you willing to talk to us? And I think it took a little bit of courage to say yes, to talk to them, and for them to come forward. And so in doing that, what we get out of that is this situation where for a moment in time, we really see the gridlock just going away and us coming together. Their endorsement of this is very important in terms of being able to really, I think, help with a lot of Minnesota businesses. I think the Itasca project, the Itasca group that's out there, the 45 CEOs of that, as well as other businesses around the state have been telling us it's very important to them to be able to move goods and services and people. And they were being true to their word when they said, we can't wait any longer. If we wait too much longer, we are going to do serious damage to our economic interest in the state. So it was important.
Do you think any Republican votes turned because of that chamber endorsement?
I think it was more the results of the chamber endorsement in terms of what the actual effect was, lowering the sales tax a little bit, being able to put in the management and efficiency task force, which was something that we were very open to and worked with them to, I think, improve it even further. And so those were kind of the things that actually, I know Representative Abler, when I went to him out in the hallway after we knew that we had an agreement with the chamber and that was going to be coming forward an amendment, I could tell it just made a big difference to him. I don't know if it's this thing that swayed his vote. I mean, he certainly had constituent contact as well that was important to him, but I think it was a critical thing.